Join me, we'll say the pledge. I pledge
Allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
All right, the first thing we'll do tonight is to approve the agenda pending any changes.
We do have a change to the agenda that came about after it was posted last night, late in the evening. And unfortunately, again, our annual audit, our auditor reported to us that there were still a few minor things that needed to be tweaked and added, and they were not gonna be ready to present this evening. So we need to remove from the agenda item 6A, approve audit results from fiscal year 2021. They should be here next month, and we have 6 months from the end of the fiscal year to get posted anyway, so it's not gonna cause any problems, but we do need to remove that item. That's the only one.
I'll make a motion to approve the agenda, removing item 6A.
I'll second.
All right, Mr. Wendell, Ms. Berezinski, all those in favor?
Aye.
Anyone opposed? Okay, motion carries, and we'll move on then to our good news recognitions and announcements, and I see the 8 consecutive cross-country team.
Yes, we're gonna have, before we do our other good news with the video, we did ask our award-winning, history-making, trend-setting, cross-country varsity boys team that has been chasing history. The program has been chasing history for quite some time, and this year's group, had the distinction, or how you look at it, pressure to not only after it was tied last year, but break that all-time consecutive state title streak for consecutive cross-country titles, state titles in Missouri that dated all the way back into the current record, had been tied last year, went from late 70s into the early 80s, and many people felt that would never be broken. And our program and our student athletes that have had that as a goal forever did that, and so we've been celebrating with them since the moment that they broke the record on that Friday, which will be 2 weeks tomorrow. But they has always, anytime they won, we've always invited our state champion teams, whether it's Rocket Club, whatever, to come and tell us a little bit about their experiences, along with their coaches, along with their trophies, along with their medals. So, gentlemen, come on up, show us what you've got, bring the trophy, bring your medals, bring your coaches, come up, approach the table, and we're gonna talk to you a little bit. I want, as we said, usually every year we kind of have you start out by sharing with us, again, for the board that's here, if you can kind of get everybody can see it, that we'd like you to have, tell us, kind of just line up, and then we'll kind of start down with her over here with your leader, and he will tell us, of course, that trophy gets heavy.
I'm going to pass it down as they talk. It's going to be
So but we're going to have you, boy, just again, kind of for our sake, tell us who you are, who your parents are. If they're here, you want to introduce people here that are with you tonight, feel free to do so. Tell us what year you are, what place you got, and what was your thoughts throughout the season, knowing what the team was chasing, and after it was all done, what were your thoughts? So we'll start over here on this end.
okay, my name is Anthony Pippen, for those of you who do not know me. This year I was a senior, ran at the state meet, and I got 35th. I had the benefit to be the 6th guy of the team. And when it comes to what it meant to me this year, Festus Cross Country, it was a life-changing event. And I don't think that a lot of people understand what a life-changing event Festus Cross Country can be. Because, I mean, like I said, I told coaches a couple weeks ago, actually the day before the state meet, if you were to plot a timeline of my life, Festus Cross Country would be the big bang in the middle. It would just, I mean, it just changed the complete direction of my life, and I don't think I would be anywhere near where I am today if it was not for Coach Wright and the administration, and the ability to try to chase these state titles and level.
Thank you.
I'm Bryson Ryan. I'm a sophomore. I managed to get 52nd this year at the state meet, ran as the 7th guy on the team, and this trophy means a lot to me. As Ryan Garrett, my older brother, now a sophomore in college, we had 4 of these: freshman, sophomore, junior, senior, and I just wanted to live up to that standard. I saw him probably I was 6th grade when I saw him run as a freshman. And I just wanted to be there with him. I wanted to run. I wanted to run with him, but I never had that opportunity. So I just have to continue the legacy with him. And it means a lot to run with all these guys right here, all these legends. We're all gonna know their names for years to come. So it's a very, very insightful experience.
Now, go ahead, go and pass it. Bryson, though, you got to share the most unique feat that you also accomplished that many people wouldn't have. Whenever Bryson was racing and said, did he even get 50?
Second.
Second is quite incredible. But how did you get 52nd?
Well, throughout the years, you never, the one thing in a cross-country race, you never want to lose a shoe. You never want to lose a shoe. Guess what happened at the state meet? I lost a shoe. About a mile left of the race, I lost a shoe. But I still
kept going.
Yeah.
I don't know, your dad and mom are here, right?
Yeah, Joshua Ryan is over there. He teaches in the intermediate.
I don't know if your dad would have kept running or not. Thank you.
So I'm Peyton Kirby. I'm a senior, and I was the 8th guy on the team, so I was the first ultimate for the team, and it was an honor to get to go with all you guys, even though I didn't get to run. It means a lot to me, and I really enjoyed it.
I'm Peyton Willis. I'm a senior. My parents are Jamie and Joe Willis out there.
Hey, did your dad, did he take that trophy to Turkey?
Actually, he got his own there. He got his own over there. But
Oh, you guys did get your own. I was starting, I think Turkey had 7, right?
I feel like this is my house.
But I would say probably my favorite part about the meet was like watching some of the younger guys come through. Oh, I was the second alternate, so 9th guy on the team. And definitely the best part was like watching the guys come across the finish line and seeing those younger guys, the ones who are coming after me to continue the legacy, crossing the finish line, like giving it their all. Definitely a really emotional experience seeing that, and this next chapter. So.
Alright, I'm Ethan James. I'm a senior this year. I've been a part of 3 state championship teams, that being my freshman year, my junior year, and my senior year. And my cousin ran cross country back in 2014, 2015, 2016. And he was also a part of these state championship teams, Brendan Pratt. And from a young age, I looked up to him, and I got to know the guys from before these guys got to know the guys. And so I came into this experience with a little more knowledge, I guess. And I feel like all of us, well, a lot of us have different people. Bryson had his brother, but really being around those guys and getting the sense of who they are was awesome, and that's what I wanted to be. And I might have fallen short of a few of my goals, but this has really been a life-changing experience, and I'm proud to be a teammate with these gentlemen right here.
I'm Jacob Myers. I'm a senior. I got 2nd, and even though I didn't win, I did a lot better than I thought I was going to. Considering I was really sick, had some injuries, but overall, I've been kind of waiting for this one for a while because I've been on the state championship team since my freshman year, and so this one definitely means the most, being the record-breaking year and being a senior and everything. But made a lot of memories with these guys, and it's going to be pretty hard, leaving this program and leaving this team, and yeah.
I am Tate Riney. I am a junior. I finished 23rd at the state meet and 5th on the team. It's crazy that I've been running with these guys since middle school. Like, and there's some of these guys are seniors and they're gonna be leaving next year. Oh my gosh, and I think the best part is like watching everyone grow and like develop into like young men. And yeah, I guess so.
I'm Nathan Wolk. I was a senior on this team. I was the fourth guy, placing ninth. My dad is my fourth. I'd say my favorite part about this season was not only getting to break the record with everyone here, but getting to experience my senior year, finally doing it with the biggest margin and tying the lowest record with everyone here, and seeing how much everyone put into it and how far we've all come since middle school together, and hopefully we can keep it going.
Hey everybody, I'm Cullen Krieg. I'm a junior. I finished 5th at the state meet, and my parents are standing there in the back. Both got jackets on. And I would say the best part about this season was seeing all the seniors and younger guys, grow up and watch the coaches try and mold them into the adults that they're turning into be. And it was kind of cool seeing them work as hard as they did this year and grow. So.
I just want to start off by saying the reason I'm running is Colin's brother. He told me back in 2016, if you don't come out and run, you're a sissy. Little did I know, those 8 words changed my life and basically set me up for everything. He didn't mean to do it, but he set me up for life and gave me the best friends I could ever ask for, and just the greatest experiences I could ever ask for. And I wish he was here. I'd give him a hug right now. That's all I got to say right now.
And what's your name? You forgot to tell your name.
We need to know that. My name is Ian Tram. I'm a junior, and I got 8th at the state meet this year.
Okay, thank you. And then coaches.
Oh, yeah.
Wes Arbors, assistant coach for I think year 7, and I mean you can hear these young men talk, and you can kind of see why we are so proud of them. But to kind of face the pressures and things that they have over the years, it hasn't been easy. And as many of them have acknowledged, they have grown from maybe some immature young men into some guys that we are very proud of. Excellent job, guys.
I'm Coach Schreckenberg, Laura Schreckenberg. I'm just really proud of it. I've been coaching 5 years with them, assistant coach, and just watching them grow from, like they said, it's amazing. And just watching them persevere through every challenge that came across to them. Even the ones that went to the Nike challenge, just knowing that they could do it and they didn't give up any challenge thrown at them. They really used the shoot.
Thank you. Coach Wright, we'll end with you.
Well, we want to thank the board for the support, the administration for the support that we've had. It was, we told the boys, we said, if you run average races, you'll win the state title because you can know what you can do. But we asked them to we don't want you to just run and win the state title. We want you to do your best. Give us 100%. That's what we're looking for more than anything. And to watch those boys go out and race and give 100% after the season, it was pretty impressive when we started the season. Just to see the intensity that they didn't care who got credit, glory, whatever. They just wanted to go out there and they just wanted to take care of business, and they wanted to elevate the other people on their team, the younger kids, the same. And you could see that transformation from when maybe they were juniors as leaders to seniors, and that was pretty special for us to see. And then the surprise when the shirts, the eight, I didn't know they were going to have these there, and they were there, and they were
you know, showing them to everybody. I'm like, I gotta have one of those. You know, so,
Dr. Luttrell was showing those off an hour before the race. Pressure was on.
so, you know, that was very enjoyable to see, and you know, just the being able to reflect back and see some of the other boys' faces in my mind as we were winning, you know, on a state title. It's pretty special type of thing, and you know, obviously we did break the state record for the number of state champions, and Dr. Luttrell probably may not want people to know this, but the guy that started that for Herculaneum actually was his coach when he went to college. So yeah, he has a little bit of history with that as well. So you know, it was just an enjoyable year, and to see what these guys did at the state meet. And you know, the one thing we could say about these guys is, without a doubt, they were the best team in the state, regardless of class. We beat Rockbridge, and we beat Kickapoo twice, who were the Class 5 state champions. And when we beat Rockbridge, we beat them on a tie, so we were pretty close. Now, you can take it for what it's worth, but when they merged all the classes, we destroyed everybody basically on there. So, but you know, the great thing is these boys came in as after being juniors, and a lot of people would think they were cocky, but they really had a humility about them. And so, you know, if things work the way it does, winning should create humility. And so we saw that in them when we started the first practice, and the intensity that they had to help others become successful as well as themselves. So that's something pretty special.
And that's one thing too, that, you know, as we kind of wrap things up, and the one thing that I think was evident with hearing the young men talk and the coaches, it's not individual. It's all of them are about team, camaraderie, helping one another, and that goes hand in hand with, I think it's evident that, you know, we always strive to not just have a one-year program, but you want to build a culture. And there's definitely a winning culture within our cross-country program in all elements. And that it's not only from the the runners and the coaches, but also it extends to the parents, because I can tell you that the parents in that cross-country program, anything that those student athletes need, as soon as they start saying, oh, I got maybe hurt my leg, they get them into a doctor. They always make sure that they have what they need, and it does take everybody working together to get that flywheel going and having that success, and that's what's been generated. And as they also said, you all alluded to, you know, the others that came before you paved the way for your success, and you all knew you had a responsibility to be in the position for that success to be carried on forward with the younger ones. And I think, again, just from the achievements this year, while there are many great seniors that have contributed immensely to the program is still being, it's still going to be at a very high level moving forward. I mean, it's going to be in place. And in fact, the one day we were over here on that Monday, one of our ladies upstairs in the office who is with the program as a parent said when they were up there on that Friday that after the race, they were near a team that got, I think it was second or third as a team in our classification, and they were just happy because they were like, we knew coming in we couldn't beat Festus, you know. And that's, again, when you create that mentality that everybody else comes in like, you know, that just doesn't happen by chance. It definitely, you know, comes from a lot of, again, hard work and an aligned vision. So again, you make us proud. You continue to keep us on the map. Like I said, we want to continue to do what we can. The board does to make sure that you all are recognized. And again, just know you represent Festus well, and it's very recognized not only within our school community but around the region, across the state. And I also think that it's one of those things too that as you with the winning culture, like I said, you know, success just continues to happen. And like I said, you definitely have made us proud. Anybody on the board? Anybody want to say anything?
I was going to say, this is the 8th time I think I've done the board, you guys have been here, and every year when the group comes up, I'm like, man, who's gonna be the next guys, or who's the next group, and I was like, well, I don't think do it again, and every year, so you guys, somebody steps up, and again, it's just really unbelievable, and I think the big takeaway for me is just, you guys probably see me at the track sometimes, I see what you guys are running all the time, and just, I think you guys have really demonstrated that hard work pays off. I think you've learned to respect your teammates, respect yourselves, right? Somebody mentioned life lessons, I think you did, and I think it really is a big life lesson, like what you guys can do as a team and as a group when you support each other. And I think a big reason for that is your coaches. And I know we always congratulate you guys because you do all the hard work, but I think the coaches, congratulations to you guys too, because I know you guys put in the time, you're there for them. And Coach Wright, I know these young men, every year it's another great group of good young men, good citizens, guys that, they're gonna make a difference somewhere along the line. And, so I appreciate you guys for that. I think it's really great. And again, you guys, unbelievable, life-changing experience, yeah, for sure. Awesome.
And you're gonna be part of, people are gonna talk about you all for decades, because it's always gonna be that next generation. We want to, and they're gonna be talking about you all in the program for years to come. You're not gonna be forgotten overnight, and that's again because of your hard work. Anybody else before we send them on their way?
I'm looking forward to seeing our underclassmen back up here next year. With number 9.
I think they deserve.
Thank you all very much.
Thanks a lot.
Thank you, coaches.
Thank you.
And I've got, if Coach, you see that red bucket back there on that table? That's for you all. Make sure you stop by there. I know what you all like.
Well, you can hit.
All right, very exciting.
The rest of the good news, Mr. Pope, you ready to start the video, and we'll dim the lights here in a little bit. And, oh, we don't need to dim the lights because it messed the video up. Okay, on the line, so we're good.
Hi, my name is Kirkendall. I'm Festus High School student for November. My parents are Elizabeth and Larry Kirkendall. I wasn't really expecting it. I walked into Dr. Shager's office and I was like, oh, that's great. I'm honored. I'm very excited. Right now, my favorite class is physics because it gives me just enough of a challenge that I'm super excited to do what I do because it's not hard where I don't understand it, but it's not easy where I just get by. I'm honestly involved in quite a bit, but some of my most notable and what I'm super excited to be involved in is I'm president of our theater club, I'm our senior class president and student council, I'm a president for our Festus rocketry team. Currently, I'm actually undecided as to what I'm going to do after high school. However, I'm considering going to Mizzou for pre-law, or I'm going to go to Florida Tech for aerospace engineering. Festus High School and Intermediate School held their Veterans Day assemblies on November 11th. The high school welcomed several veterans to attend in person. The intermediate did not allow outside guests to attend, but former Jefferson County Sheriff Glenn Boyer talked to students about what it's like to be a veteran. Both assemblies featured the songs of 5 branches of the military, Army, Navy, Air Force, Marines, and Coast Guard, patriotic music, and a history of Veterans Day. The assemblies have been viewed nearly 2,000 times on Facebook. The intermediate school also organized a parade for the veterans. More than 30 veterans paraded around campus and throughout downtown Festus. Students lined the streets to cheer them on and tell them thanks. Thanks to our intermediate school students, every single veteran currently admitted to John Cochran Veteran Hospital was able to receive a letter of thanks. Many received multiple letters. All the nurses reported that their patients were thrilled to receive them. Intermediate school students also raised $849 for the Wounded Warrior Project. 7 middle school students were named to the East Central District Middle School Honor Band and Jazz Bands. They were chosen from hundreds of students from Jefferson, Franklin, Washington, St. John, and St. Francis counties. Festus honorees are Max Renshaw, concert band tenor sax and jazz band alternate, Alvin Lugo, concert band trombone, Cannon French, concert band tuba, Ava Lee, concert band flute alternate, Ava Green, concert band French horn alternate, Angela Moore, jazz band vibes, Alex Sekester, jazz band drum set. 9 high school students are named to the East Central District Honor Band. The following students will compete for seats in the All-State Band on December 4th. Sarah Klons for oboe, Crystal Wen for clarinet, Mackenzie Fish for clarinet, Anna Morsman for clarinet, Teddy Wen for clarinet, Abby Kent for bass clarinet, Abby Kent for contrabass clarinet, Eli Katinsky for bass clarinet, and Wyatt Johnson for trombone. First grade had their annual family night on November 9th. The parents and students came out to learn more about reading power and then a make and take session. Students were able to play games, make vowel town, and take home extra activities to help them become better readers. The Festus High School Theater Department successfully put on 3 shows of William Shakespeare's Twelfth Night. This was most likely the final performance in the high school gymatorium.
And then as that's wrapped up, we did want to say, I think that, I don't know, someone in the audience this evening brought in a very nice, looks like a very scrumptious cake. I'm sure it's sugar-free. It was probably even baked by one of them. But, for appreciation to the school board from, I think it was, one of our main teacher organizations. And so, anybody gonna take credit for bringing that in? Oh, Mrs. Colgan, Mrs. Bryant, so.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Yeah, thank you. Well, I'm sure we'll dig into it soon, but thank you very much.
Yes, thank you.
Okay, that's the good news, recognitions.
Super. All right, the next item tonight will be to approve the consent agenda, so I'll take a motion to approve the consent agenda, and then we'll have discussion.
Make a motion to approve the consent agenda, removing checks 84269 and 84280.
Mr. Wyndham?
I'll second.
Mr. Wolf? All right, Dr. Latrell, any discussion there?
Yes, the main thing on there is I just want to make sure everybody's good. We have determined some recommended graduation dates for the class of 2022 because they're going to be ordering their announcements, cap and gowns within the next 2 weeks. And so Dr. Shinniger, in meeting with some individuals at the high school, we're looking at, we are recommending Tuesday, May the 24th at 7 p.m. within Tiger Stadium as the main date. However, if it rains that night or it's inclement weather, we would move this ceremony to Wednesday night like we have done the last couple years. And it would then be on the 25th, the next night at 7 p.m. at Tiger Stadium. And then if there is inclement weather after that second night, instead of moving to a third date like we've done, we would on that evening, we have reserved in case it's needed, the field house at Jefferson College. The rationale for that was the fact that, again, we are fortunate that a lot of our students are involved and qualify every year for state track meet. And this next year, the state track meet for our classification will begin on early Friday morning in Jefferson City. And because we know if graduation did have to be moved up to that Thursday night, if that was an option, with celebrations and the ceremony, you don't want that stress of students having and families feeling rushed and having to, then they're not in the optimal, mood to be able to perform at a high level. So that's why we have recommended the 24th is the main date. If rains, the 25th. If it rains 25th, we could go to Jefferson College. Those are the dates recommended for the class of 22 commencement. And then outside of that on the consent agenda, I did have, like I said, we got the second reading of the policies. And then our financials, Mr. Earnhardt gave a detailed report last month because we were at pretty much 4 months into our fiscal year. Not much has happened in the past month, but he will be giving a more detailed report as he did last month in December, because we will be at pretty much the halfway point of our fiscal year. Some of our local monies from local property, real estate taxes should start trickling in at that time. But overall, like I said, our financials overall in terms of what projections for revenue have been pretty much what have been budgeted. But we'll give you a more detailed update on that next month. So that's pretty much what I have in terms of explaining anything in detail on the consent agenda.
Any questions from anyone? All those in favor?
Oh, I'm sorry. No, just the filing dates for the Board of Education annual election, that is approaching, and again, the General Assembly in their wisdom changed the dates for that this year, and so I want to make sure individuals knew that board filing this year will commence like it always did on the Tuesday, it's the third Tuesday in December, which this year has been moved earlier, and it's actually will commence Tuesday, December the 7th. It usually runs through the Tuesday after Martin Luther King holiday, but this year it's just a 3-week window, so board filing will open at 8 p.m. on Tuesday, December the 7th, and then it will close on Tuesday, December 28th. Okay, so it's only open 3 weeks this year, and it got the holiday in there. And our office again will be because of the holiday will have some partial hours, but we will be open the full day until 5 p.m. on that date of the 28th for sure. In addition to the other regular days that are open, and unless we have bad weather, and that has been in the paper with the county filing with all the school districts. But did want to make that note so that people knew that day was approaching. It was a little bit different time window this year.
Anything else?
No, I'm good.
All right. Any other discussion? All those in favor of approving the consent agenda?
Aye.
Anyone opposed? Could you please note that I did not participate in this discussion? I now entertain a motion to approve checks 84280 and check 84269.
I'll make a motion to approve check number 84269. Go at the same time?
Yeah.
And check number 84280.
We have a motion from Mr. Wolf,
I'll second.
Mr. Fadler, all in favor?
Aye.
Anyone opposed? Please note Mr. Wendell and Mr. Abrams did not participate in that discussion or vote. Okay, we'll move on now to communication reports, starting with the superintendent's report.
Pretty brief, just want to give you a brief COVID update. We have again continued to have pretty good numbers. I hadn't seen the update for today, but as of last night, we had 10 active positive cases across the district among students and staff, which, like I said, was right at a little bit under a quarter, 1/4 of 1%. We've been running really well, but with the holiday parties and holidays coming up, approaching, it's going to be important that people make good decisions with mitigation strategies, washing hands. Again, also, we want to encourage if someone, does a self-check and they don't feel well, they need to stay home. But we're feeling pretty good about that, and it seems to be a common trend in most of the school districts around. Of course, the big thing we continue to grapple with now that gets more murkier every day locally is dealing with everything's kind of shifted away from the mask now to more emphasis on what is the benefit to quarantine. And so, as you may have heard, there were some lawsuits within the county that some parents filed against some school districts, which Festus was not one of those, but they did have a ruling yesterday on Tuesday with one of the cases, and it was just a temporary restraining order to basically halt some of the ways the health department had been handling things with school districts. However, again, the main thing that the court said you couldn't do, that this one school district could not do, we as Festus had not been doing that anyway. Okay, so it really doesn't impact us. However, in visiting with the other superintendents and some legal advice from the county attorney, the attorney that kind of advises some of the county superintendents on some issues, has stated that before we do anything one way or the other, the two things to keep in mind are that this is a temporary restraining order, and that we need to probably wait to see December 9th comes and see what happens then. But then secondly, rather than just go out and just do our own thing in terms of quarantine, what we have to make sure is that our liability insurance carrier, which is music, that they are gonna continue to cover you, because if you do get sued, you wanna have that back behind you. And so, and music is currently, they've held a pretty strong stance that you better follow what is in place by your local, health department or the CDC. And so, whether the rumor is that their back music is evaluating right now, that they hope by the first year may come out with some more broad, give a little bit more leeway for districts. But like I said, so far right now, knock on wood, we've been pretty good. Again, our health staff have been great, and like I said, our staff, for the students that have been quarantined, continue to work with those students to make sure that they can get their work and well as get it submitted. So, but that's, and then like I said, we've had the benchmarks in place this semester. I talked with Lindsay. We're continuing those, but again, the last 6 weeks we've been really good. I know in many of the districts, I think we would like to slowly back out of even having thresholds. And we've gone, I think Lindsay and Mrs. Roth was saying that if we can make it through the rest of the semester without ever having reached those thresholds for so many days, that might be an opportunity to start, say in the second semester, we're gonna get out of that, because at some point we want to get hopefully to a point where, like I said, that but now especially ages 5 to 11 can get the vaccine, those that want. And we did have a clinic last week for the first round, and we did have 166 students that, because we had a Pharmax pharmacy and their health professionals, not ours, that administered the first round of shots to those students age 5 to 11 that were then became eligible. One other thing that I'm not recommending tonight, but I just wanted to throw out to you that was brought up as part of our TAB meeting the other evening, was that we all know that even with the vaccine, there have been individuals that are still have tested positive, and they then are impacted with a forced quarantine of 10 days. And some districts, although the federal government did not extend the COVID leave mandate that was in place last year, it's an option. I mean, local districts, local entities can still decide to do that. It's pretty much probably about 60-40, 60, probably 6% of districts have not, about 40% have made that available. We have not at this point, but we have had some staff, especially that have been impacted by that. And, I said that I would definitely, toss it out there just for you all to consider. I can get, if you would like, I can bring back to you next month the official number of how many staff that were vaccinated and everything that have been impacted that lost days. I do know we did have one teacher that was brand new to the district that really had, of course you come in with 10 days, and within the first 3 weeks they were positive and they lost all their days. So, but again, I'm just saying, that's just something that I don't want to make a rash decision at, but I think it's just something to chew on, and I can probably find out how many staff we've had, and if we would want to do a resolution or something and put specifics on who would apply and what they would have to prove, we could always go back and apply that retroactive to a certain point, but we would want to probably make sure that if that was decided, we would want to probably make it clear that as of a certain date it did end away, because again, it's sort of like at some point we have to get out of a lot of the things we've put in place and move forward, and much like we have for years with other illnesses like the flu and different things. So just food for thought with that. Like I said, the whole 10 minutes are attached there.
Can we go back?
Attached. Yes.
Just on the COVID thing, I received a couple of phone calls over the past week, and the student vaccination clinics that are held at the school, how are those, who pays for that? The school district doesn't.
We have no dime in it.
ESSER funds are not used for vaccinations.
No,
for clinics, it's
No.
all, the school district has no benefit.
All we're doing is providing a location. We provide a location And it's, like I
Provide
said,
the location and the.
correct.
Providing the
yeah.
avenue for them to get them.
Okay,
Yeah, our health professionals are not involved in administering the shots or.
okay, that's what I thought, I just wanted to confirm that.
And,
I just have one thing, while we're considering, you know, the sick days for the teachers, we do need to consider, isn't Jefferson County in the red again? Are we in the red again according to the health
We've
department?
been the entire time.
No, for a while there we were all
Couple
orange,
weeks we were back
chartreuse,
in the orange,
pick your color.
Okay.
But I think we're back in the red again, so that may be something to
It's going, so
consider.
we're not out of the woods by any means, so. And then a couple other things real quick, like I said, did you know the supply chain problems that we've had with so many products, whether it be food products, paper products, construction materials, you all have experienced it within your own industries, that normally we do not start formally putting out RFPs and getting bids on some projects usually until about February, March. And I've talked to Tommy, and we think that with some of the projects we have outlined with some possible HVAC replacements, we have about a handful of classrooms at Festus that still should have been renovated as part of a final phase over there about 2 years ago, and we never got to that because of COVID. And then last summer, we had too many other things going on, so we need to get back to that. We've got some exterior doors still on this building that I want to get replaced, and we're probably going to be going out and putting those out for bid now and getting prices, because we need to probably get those orders, those special materials that we know are gonna have to be manufactured in that custom, get those into the pipeline earlier so that we can have somewhat assurance that they'll be here in time to allow for the possible delays that are continuing to be seen. And then I gave you what some of those projects right now, tentative list are. And then our enrollment, as I've said, as of late last week, it was 3,246, which at that time, I checked that we're down one. But we're right at 105 students higher K-12, but like I said last month, the one eerie thing about that you gotta watch is that of that 105 students that were up, which is significant, again, as the last couple of years, although this is the highest, we've seen increases of like 35, then we went up to 50, then last year was like 60, and this year, which is opposite of the trend that our demographic study had said, but then the way our kindergarten enrollment numbers keep fluctuating. But out of that 106 new students we still have in cross K-12, we have like 105 or so students that are attending the district on waiver, meaning that they're living with someone that's not a full resident. Now, some have been here a little while, okay? But usually in normal times, it's usually about 20 to 25. And so you kind of got to take that into consideration, because if all of a sudden, not that it would happen, once this all dust settles from the COVID and restrictions are all lifted, various places you don't know, but some of those individuals could, go back, possibly to other areas. So it just continue to, it's not as simple as just saying we're up, we're going to stay up. But our trend has, even though it has been that way, but we're still watching that. But other than that, like I always say, enrollment increases is always better to have discussions about, even though it brings challenges, as opposed to the opposite end where if we're continuing to decrease students. Okay, that's my report.
Can I just, at the TAB meeting, they said there's approximately 21 kids in each kindergarten.
Yes, which
And
is
were a lot of those students kindergarten, because I know we always wanted to stay 19, I think, in kindergarten.
And that's, at the board, at the TAB meeting, like I said, the one thing that, again, that's kind of, like I said, we had high kindergarten class of like 255, 260, 4 or 5 years ago. Then all of a sudden they plummeted and went back down to the normal, like 225, 230. And we were heading into last year. Last year was supposed to really be, and then again, we still kept kind of flat, but then this year we jumped up again to 260 something.
Right.
But then, and like I said, but what we can't really trace to a degree is, we don't, again, not that we're making excuses at all, but we really don't know how many of those could have went last year and their parent just chose not to send them.
You said that.
Okay, so again, we don't know really. So again, hopefully, I think Dr. Roos can tell, we've probably got kindergarten registration will be coming up late winter, early March, and we can, hopefully, should things get a better read now as coming in, whether we're gonna see that, because we don't know still because of COVID, whether that is really an anomaly, or if it really is that many, or it could have been scattered out between last year and this year, so, but no, yes, and we did talk about also, it's about, which I talked with Dr. Bruce about, maybe, like I said, we have continued to look at, talk with Dr. Seaver, maybe getting, some classroom aides. It's probably not the best answer to split those kids out completely into a different teacher at this point. But the problem again we're having with even finding when we do classroom aides, I know when we did our last round back at the start of the year, it was, applicant pools are so thin.
And subs, we talked about subs are.
So, but no, we could be, yes, we're continuing to watch that, and, but again, as I said, our teachers they've been troopers.
Thank you.
Okay, anybody have any questions on supervision? We'll move on now to the underwriter report.
Yes, we have, this evening, you know, Prop F. In April of 19, we had funds that were allowed us to do the playgrounds at the elementary, the additional parking. We had, and the big project out of that was the Performing Arts Center, which is wrapping up slowly here again. Hopefully by January it'll be all buttoned up. Brill will be back, Rockville will be here again next month. But we're also planning, which was also part of Proposition F, was the design and construction of a new wellness center, gymnasium, fitness center, whatever you want to name you want to put to it, that would see at least 2,000 people that we could have graduations in. Also have some comprehensive-based health, perhaps services out of that at some point, but mainly, a wellness fitness gym. We've been planning on that, and we're getting into the point now where we have to, pay for that facility. Yes, we're planning it. Plus, as you know, we also recently hope to acquire a piece of property that would serve as early childhood center. And so we have tonight, again, you all talked with him many times, Mr. Joe Kinder from Steeple, who is our financer for a lot of our projects, because we do have to do lease purchase certificates to have the money to do that. And so he's here tonight to kind of what we're looking at in terms of possible interest rates and repayment structuring for those projects to fund those, the early childhood purchase, center purchase property, as well as the wellness center purchase. So you see Mr. Kinder there, and he's going to kind of be on view, that he's about to shift to a picture, but you'll be able to hear his voice and ask questions. And then a lot of the information he's going to be going over, if you want to, like I said, I do have the actual figures that he's going to be showing you on his report. Those were uploaded that you can follow if you desire, but he's going to have them all. So, okay, so Mr. Kinder, can you hear us?
I can hear you all. Can you hear me okay?
Yes.
Oh, yeah.
Excellent, excellent. Hey, well, thanks for having me here. It's good to see you. I will be back next month with final results, but I'm glad that I'm able to be here virtually to be able to attend and talk about the parameters resolution and the exciting projects you have going. So thanks for allowing me here. And as you heard a great summary from Dr. Luttrell there, but I can't tell you how cool of a project this is to be involved in. Got to go. I was out here a couple weeks ago and got to see what will be hopefully the new Early Childhood Center, and it's just a fantastic facility and great opportunity. And hopefully you're, of course, going to be closing on that sometime middle of next month. And as we sit and talk about capital improvements and projects, we know the Wellness Center is of those issues at once, or both of those facilities at once. And there's really 4 reasons behind that. And the number one thing is you can do that under your current cash flows. And as we've talked about in the past, I think several times, the planning that you all have done as a board and your administration has put together has just been tremendous. And the moves that you've made to put your district in the position that it is, with the levy that you have and the projects that you're doing, this is something that fits within your budget and allows you within a 5 to 7 year period even with very conservative, almost no growth built in your assessed value, be able to come back and do another set of projects. So it allows you to continue to address your facilities through lease projects. This doesn't tie you up for an extended period of time, puts you in good shape to be able to do that. The second one is really the interest rate environment we're in right now. I've been saying for a dozen years rates have to come back up. I think that we're getting to a tipping point a little bit here, and being able to do what we're doing tonight and get parameters in place, hopefully price within the next couple weeks once we get through the Thanksgiving holiday here and get investors back in their seats looking at bonds again. I think it's a great time to be accessing all of that capital. I think you're going to be able to borrow it at rates under 3% and get yourself in a position where you've got $18 million to do projects before there could be any inflation pressures on our market that might raise interest rates. The third is, hey, you're going to get the money in the bank then and earn a little bit of interest before you start a big push on your projects this summer, I know. So that's, it is a little bit of something that you'll be able to earn. And then the fourth, and just as big as the interest rates, is being able to save on costs. And can everybody still hear me?
Yeah.
Okay, sorry that my screen just went blank there. Anytime we do an issue, the bigger the issue gets, the lower the costs are. We've got a big machine here that pumps out your bonds. I think we've talked about it before, but when the rubber meets the road and it's time to execute a financing, over 250 institutional bond salesmen with access to, I think, over 200,000 accounts who are out auctioning off those securities in $5,000 increments to whoever's willing to pay the highest price. And that's a big machine, and that takes a lot of going, and there's some fixed costs we can't go below. But anytime we can combine issues, it saves costs on that side of the project. It saves costs for your special tax counsel, who is Gilmore and Bell, that drafts all your documents. They only have to draft one set of documents off for one opinion. And then your rating agency fee, which is the other big fee that we're in the process of grabbing that high credit rating for you all again. They all charge by the size of the issue, and the percentage of what they charge goes up as the issue gets smaller. So we'll hopefully get you locked into some great interest rates in a good market before some interest rates go up. You've got the ability to make payments, still fits in your long-range plan, and saves on costs. So it's a nice deal, and we'll go a little bit over all the big packet of the numbers you have, but I'll be brief on that. That's a lot of source material for you, just so you've got that in front of you and you can reference that as we go along. And I think we've done this with you all before. Typically, we bring you a deal that has been finalized in the market, and we can show you final rates. That would be just a actual action item that would authorize the issuance, sale, and delivery of the bonds, and you would know the rates that you're going to get. In this case, we're doing what's called a parameters resolution. So you are authorizing the issuance, sale, and delivery, sorry, not bonds, certificates. You are going to authorize the issuance, sale, and delivery of certificates tonight, and for pricing that will happen at a later date. And the way we do that is we set forth a list of parameters, or put ourselves inside of a box that we have to stay in terms of how the financing works. That allows us to be able to price the deal and close it in time for you to have cash on hand to purchase the Early Childhood Center, which will be likely before your next board meeting, and gives us the flexibility to do that and access the markets in a timely fashion, and not make you have to have a special meeting or anything like that. Now, the parameters, they're included in the documents. There's a not to exceed principal amount. It's somewhere in there. There's a list of 4 of them, A, B, C, and D. I don't know what page exactly, but the not to exceed amount looks a little funky because it's showing you $17.25 million. We know you are looking for $18 million for those 2 projects and some other things you're wanting to get done. Again, right now with the market the way it is, like we've talked about premium certificates, but we're trying to structure your certificates in a way that gets the most number of investors interested. So we want to drive up demand, which for you all means the investors will pay a higher price, which means lower rates. So we're trying to structure a deal that looks the most attractive to the most number of investors, and part of that right now in our ultra-low interest rate environment is this idea of premium coupons that investors think for whatever reason it provides them some protection for market movement. The math is what it is, and we're looking at issuing only about $15.7 million right now to get $18 million in the bank. And that's the idea of premium, where you pay a little bit more interest than what is market rate, but the investors pay you more money up front. In this case, maybe as much as $2.5 million more up front. So you'll see a not to exceed amount that doesn't get you to 18, and that's why the math is working that way. Again, yields are what yields are. Our job is to find investors who are willing to pay the highest price, which you all is the lowest yield, but there is a set to that, a set amount to that. We can't impact that, how the market is behaving, but we can impact what interest rate you agree to pay. And again, that's that coupon rate, and that will generate some premium for you, but still nice deal. The other one is, B is the true interest cost. That's what we call the yield of the worst of those certificates. So if you never refinance them, what interest rate are you going to see over the life of those certificates? We set that at 4%, folks. Honestly, we're looking at about 2.9% right now, maybe even a little better than that if the market holds on for us for these certificates. So it's a great deal. You're going to say, well, why is 4% the number? Well, if the market starts to run away from us, we're going to be in constant communication and contact with your administration. We're not going to do a deal that you all don't want to see. But the last thing we want to see is a market that starts to run away from us, and then we've got to wait 24 hours or more for you to be able to call a special meeting, get a meeting involved, rescind the previous resolution, and go ahead and then adopt a pricing while the market runs away from us. I think it was April of 2014. We saw over about a 2 or 3 day period, interest rates move up 0.8%. So we're not planning on that happening, and if it does happen, there's a chance that we might see some calming in the market coming, and we might tell you to wait. But just wanted to be clear that we anticipate something under 3, and we very much anticipate not having to use that, but we do want to be nimble enough when we create those parameters to be able to execute financing if that's the right move for you all. Our fee is in there, that's 0.8%. The par, or $8 per $1,000 issued. And again, we just talked about what we do outside of the planning that my team and I do with the board and administration. We've got our institutional salesmen who go out and actually get you the lowest rates possible and do all that work. And then final maturity, 4146, that is state law. We cannot go out beyond 25 years the day-to-day of these bonds. And you typically pay principal and interest April 1st and then interest only October 1st. And the reason behind that structure is it allows you to get your tax revenue in January that you have sitting in that levy and fund for that primarily is meant to make those payments. And then April is actually a product of the rating agency. They would like an extra month for your October payment date because this is annual appropriation debt, which we don't need to go make a deep dive there, but they want 90 days after your fiscal year begins for that payment to be made to give you time to appropriate that debt. So the sheet you have in front, or the information you have digitally in front of you, has a bunch of information on it. Again, on that first page, that's sources and uses, where the money's coming from, where it's going. You can see our fee down there under uses of funds of 0.8%, $125,600 is what we would anticipate. And again, that's on the par amount of the bonds. So these premium bonds do come with the benefit of you paying less cost because we're charging on the par, and we're only issuing $15.7 million worth of bonds. So the $2.5 million worth of premium that comes in, there are no costs being charged on that amount. Cost of issuance we estimate to be a little bit under $100,000. The vast majority of that is going to be your special tax counsel who prepares all the documents, offers up the opinion that these bonds are tax exempt both for state and federal income tax purposes, and make sure it complies with state law. And then the rating agency fee, which is of course what signals to the industry or to investors what your credit rating is and what gives you the ability to borrow at the lowest rates possible. The next page on there is going to show you the yields, where we think they're going to come in at. Again, the number that really you care about is down there on the bottom right, 2.8969% some change. That's your true interest cost. That's your yield of worst. That's the worst that you'll do. We've got a bond yield actually at under 2%, believe it or not. So when we talk, I think we talked about this before, but if you refinance these certificates, which you've refinanced every deal you've ever done, I believe, we've refinanced almost every deal, and that's just a product of deal getting shorter over time. But you'll get something much closer to that number, around 2%, if you're able to refinance these when you look at the total principal and interest you pay over time. Page 3 is going to show you your principal and interest payments on these bonds, and this is pretty typical structure for us once we have debt outstanding, or for boards, I should say. It's what I call, for lack of a better term, a barbell structure. What we're doing is interest rates are very low right now, and we're trying to plan for you to be able to come back and do another bond issue, or do another set of lease certificates in order to do your next round of improvements. So you'll see 5 years of principal payments up front. That's to utilize the cash flows you have working for you right now, and then you'll see those principal payments fall off. Now, you don't stop paying principal. Again, we look at all of your lease debt as what we call one common plan of finance. So we want to look at all of that together. And so you will be amortizing principal. You will be paying down principal over that time, but you will see your payments level off over that time with the idea that you will potentially at that point be layering in more debt. So we want to leave room for you to be able to borrow that debt the next time around, and then you'll see the principal will kick back in again after you've paid off a bunch of principal from your other outstanding leases. And that'll allow you, again, with rates as low as they are, we want to be borrowing out as long as we can right now, so that if rates do go up, you've got the opportunity to put principal up shorter in a higher interest rate environment. I think you've seen me do this little deal before. I don't know how my camera mirrors, but if we look back 50 years ago in interest rates for municipal bonds, they'd be up here, and then if we went all the way to 2012, they'd be down here, and then they'd go up and down 14, 16, 18, and we're back in this range over here. So from a historical perspective, we're not borrowing interest rates here, back where they were in the 50s and 60s, mid 70s, even in 80s, we're up in here. You're borrowing rates down here. So we want to borrow that money for as long as we can, so that we give ourselves the opportunity, if rates do ever return to something in a higher interest rate environment, you have the ability to borrow shorter, which means less interest paid over time, allows you to be able to fulfill your needs and be able to execute a financing plan the best way possible. The next page and the other pages after that are just how we track the performance of your actual levy that you have sitting in Fund 4 that you use to pay your lease payments. And really the column you care about on all this, the left half of this is going to be your revenues, which is largely the tax revenue you received from that property tax you voted. The right half, or the right inner third, I guess, is going to be your payments. It's got all of your existing debt as one column there, and then about in the middle. And then it's got the 2022 lease. Well, it's really a 2021 lease, but we were initially contemplating that for some time earlier this year, but the timing of it has moved up a little bit. Got those payments in there for you. But the surplus and deficit columns, what you care about, that's how your cash flows are performing on an annual basis. And you can see that you're running, between $50,000 and $85,000 surplus a year here through to 2027, which really puts you in that 26, 27 range, that you'll see those surpluses grow again. And again, that's intentional. We want that revenue to be available as you look to address your next phase of capital improvements to be able to issue some debt. We would project that's in the $12 to $15 million range, maybe more. One of the things that we do here is we only include a growth rate of 1% on your AV. That's largely because when we're talking about operating dollars, we're talking about kiddo dollars, but we're also talking about the Hancock Amendment, which does limit your ability to recoup new revenues in operating when those new revenues would be due to reassessment or the growth of the value of existing property, which you saw this year. You saw that operating levy go down a little bit as you had a big reassessment there. So we don't want to plan for a bunch of growth and then leave you high and dry if you don't grow or if you go backwards. We want this line item in your budget to be something that you feel very comfortable that you can pay over time. And if nothing else, then we're in a position where maybe we've got to slow down when your next round of capital improvements are. But I think in all likelihood, when I say 5 to 7 years, it's going to be something more like 3 to 5 years. You'll be in great shape and position to be able to do another round of capital improvements. So this is a deal that we're recommending that you do it all right now because the time is right, interest rates are good, save on cost of issuance, allow you to get that ECC purchased and get rock and rolling with that. And it's something that fits within your plan of finance and fits within your long-range plan for your facilities. And so I don't think, for lack of a better phrase, that we should look a gift horse in the mouth and try to squeeze any more juice out of this berry while I'm saying all kinds of sayings in one sentence here, one run, terrible sentence. I think that we need to go out and make sure that we're executing your financing plan, meeting your goals and objectives, and then we can address the next round when we get there, when it's time for you to do that next phase. But exciting time for you all. Those last few pages are just going to be, hey, where's your revenue coming from, and tracks your debt service so that you can see the source material for page 4 there for your cash flow analysis. But it's going to be a nice deal, folks. Again, I think if we were in the market today, we'd be 2.9% or a little bit better on something that's probably got an average life around what is a 30-year mortgage. And again, I think we've talked about this before, but your mortgages are subsidized and backed by the federal government and federal agencies and state agencies as well. you're borrowing on your own credit here. So to be able to borrow under 3% is something that's got a 30-year type of mortgage average life, even though we're only going out 25 years, is a nice deal. And again, that parameters resolution is a little bit different, but I believe we have done one with you all before, and this allows us some freedom and flexibility to close on time, get your money, and make sure you don't have to have a special board meeting just to be able to buy that ECC and not have to float that cost or delay the closing. So with that, I know I spoke for a long time, I apologize, but I'll take any questions you all might have.
Any questions from anyone?
Joe, you did say that, since this is a parameter, they should approve, they need to consider approving the resolution tonight, and then after the lease purchases are actually accomplished in early December, you will likely be here in person on the December 16th meeting and actually have the true paperwork that's not estimates, it shows what rate, what the payments are gonna be, and the whole amortization schedule.
That's right. So we will have locked it in. So you are approving it today, but you're exactly right, Dr. Luttrell. I will be back then to give you the full synopsis on just focusing on the deal itself, how it went in the market that day, what interest rates you got, and we'll be able to give you that final analysis on that cash flow and give you a projection on your next issue that you all are used to seeing. It'll just be in a little bit different of a format because of this parameters resolution, but absolutely recommend approving the resolution this evening, which for a timing perspective makes things go much smoother and easier, and we'll have a good final report for you at your board meeting next month, and I will be here.
Okay.
Other questions? Anyone?
I think you've covered it all.
Thank you, Joe. Appreciate it. Appreciate your time.
You bet, folks. Thanks.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, so we need President to just ask for a motion to. if you
Right, so
want
that'll
to-
be down here on the prior new business, item B, correct?
Yes, yeah, after the, yes, so let me move on to C first, and then we'll come back on the new business, and you'll approve that, last one there, that will be the, resolution.
You confused me there.
Okay.
We need to do the resolution for the
Yes,
certificates
you do
first,
that,
right?
yes, yes.
Okay, so I need a motion to approve authorization of the 2021B lease participation certificates as outlined within the resolution.
So moved.
Mr. Wendell,
I'll second it.
Mr. Woke, any discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Is anyone opposed? Okay, that motion carries. And then the next item there is we need a motion to approve the resolution authorizing the purchase of the property at 821 American Legion Drive in Festus.
And that is nothing has to do with lease purchase certificates as much as that is a requirement that whenever Mr. Earnhardt or I go to the closing on behalf of the district to close the transaction on that property that we hope we can have for early childhood, that gives the recorder and everything authorization to know that I'm not just,
Right.
we're not just, that you all are behind that. That's what that resolution is.
Make a motion to approve the resolution to purchase a property at 821 American Legion Drive, Festus, Missouri.
I'll second it.
Mr. Wendell and Ms. Berzowski, any other discussion on that one? All those in favor?
Aye.
Anyone opposed? Okay, that'll be exciting when we get that done.
Yeah.
That's a great deal.
Yeah.
Okay, does anyone else have anything for open session tonight? No one? If not, I'll entertain a motion with a roll call vote to enter into executive closed session with a closed record and closed vote pursuant to RSMO 610.021, section 3, 13, 2, 6, and 14.
So moved.
Mr. Wolk,
Second.
Mr. Fadler, will you pull the board, please, Ms. Stanley?
Mr. Wendell?
Yes.
Mr. Fadler?
Yes.
Mr. Wolk?
Yes.
Mr. Addy?
Yes.
Mr. Abrams?
Yes.
Ms. Berzowski?
Yes.
Okay, we'll take about a 5-minute break and then we will